Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and welcome to this week's episode of Dear Nero, which is a weekly series here on my channel where you guys send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do my best to go ahead and answer them. Just a nice Q&A style video series, right? If my numbers are correct, which they rarely are, this is somewhere in the 80s. This is like the 83rd episode of Dear Nero, I believe, which is crazy, because you think of 52 weeks in a year. Yeah, we're about, almost up to 2 years now this series has been running, and of course I missed a few weeks here and there, so Dear Nero's been going on for a very long time. I mean, I remember spawning this idea. It was just a video idea series I had back during Modern Warfare 3, and here we are, several years later, still doing it every Wednesday, Q&A series. I don't know, I like it. I like Dear Nero. It's a fun series to do. We got some Call of Duty Ghost gameplay for you guys for right now. I'm not sure how long the video is going to be. Of course, I'm recording it right now, so I don't know how long the video is going to be. But I have a very limited number of Call of Duty Ghost gameplay on my PC at the moment, so if I run out, then maybe I will just go over to another Call of Duty, maybe some Titanfall. We'll see where the video takes us. Before we get into the questions, I want to go ahead and say that I am feeling a lot better, and thank you guys all for the get well messages and such. I just had a wicked head cold, and it was like going from like, it started off as like a sore throat, and you could feel it in my lungs as well. And then it went up into my rest of my head with like sinus pressure and like nasal congestion. And for whatever reason, I've woken up with bloody noses 2 of the past 3 nights. I don't know. I'm just falling apart at the seams here. Just falling apart. But let's hop into these questions here. But I'm feeling better, but let's hop into some questions here. First question, he's going to write. Dear Nero, I'm a long-time subscriber of yours, and I enjoy all of your videos. Do you watch anime? If so, which ones do you watch? Tetra from Oregon. So Tetra, I've never watched an anime outside of the Pokemon series. Would you call that an anime? I'm pretty sure you would. That's one I've ever watched, and I like it. I like it a lot. Just last night, in fact, I started watching the Pokemon series that they recently just put on Netflix, and that is a nostalgia trip and a half. It's like, I don't know, I'm watching episodes. I saw, last time I seen these episodes, I was probably 10 years old, or maybe 11. Or, you know, I was a really young guy, and I love how they didn't even like try and remaster it or anything like that. Like, it's still in the 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's fantastic. The series, like, I sat down, I ended up watching like several hours straight of just Pokemon, and it was great. Like, it was a nostalgia trip. It really was. And it made me, this is kind of a cool story, it made me want to dust off the old DS, which, believe me, it's very dusty, and start playing some Pokemon X, because I haven't really played much of it since October when the game came out. And so I'm looking at my team, right? While I'm sitting here feeling like I'm 10 years old again. I'm sitting here playing Pokemon, watching Pokemon, like real late at night. And I decided, like, you know what? I want a Pikachu, right? I want a Pikachu because Pikachu's in the anime. So I go to the forest, I forget the name of the forest in Pokemon X and Y, but I go there and I'm starting looking around for Pikachu. And I've caught a few of them. You gotta try and just catch a bunch of them because apparently they have a random chance to actually be holding a light ball, which is an item, like, specific for Pikachu. And while I'm looking for those, randomly as all hell, a shiny Panpour shows up. My first shiny I've ever found ever. I thought that was pretty cool. My first ever shiny. I thought that was neat. And of all Pokemon, it's a Panpour, which is a water monkey. But it was an experience. It was pretty cool. But no, I've never watched an anime outside of Pokemon. Just never really been interested in anime. I don't know. Just never really had the things. What are some good animes? I don't know. Do you guys like anime? Is that a thing? Is it like a really popular thing for people who like anime? I don't know. Let me know. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, I played Titanfall quite a bit, and I played it even more in the beta. My question to you is, do you think Titanfall is an easy game to do well in? I love your videos and keep up the great work. Cal from Ohio. Well, thank you for the compliment, Mr. Cal, there, first and foremost. I thought long and hard on this question. Long and hard. He said long and hard. Shut up. You guys are all idiots. I really did, though. Like, it's not an easy answer. Right? Is it an easy game to do well in? And that's really hard because it's really subjective. Like, I don't know if I can answer that question for any game, but I'm going to try and answer it here for Titanfall. On Titanfall, I do well. My play, I do very well. I have a 2.5 KD, which isn't giant, but it's pretty good. It's definitely dropped a lot since I started doing those freaking... I was pushing a 3 KD, and then I started doing those stupid regen requirements where I have to run around with like the plasma railgun, and good God, that freaking weapon is awful. And then satchel charges, I have to run around with those, and oh man, my stuff was dropping bad. Those challenges are hurting me. But I do well. You know, 2.5 KD, of the 215 games I've played, I've won 200 of them. You know, I've lost 15 times altogether out of 215 matches. I do well just about every time I play in Titanfall. My friends, we all do well together, and that makes me kind of think like, well, maybe it is a game that's kind of easy to do well in. But then you look at like your random teammates, like people that aren't on your friends list, people that aren't in your group that are matched up with you on your team. Are they doing well? Do teammates in multiplayer games ever do well? No, they don't. The enemy team, right? They're not doing well. You know, I feel as though it's actually probably more of a skill-based game. And I think one of the things that people are like not understanding about Titanfall when they look at people's videos, or even look at my videos when I do the entering generation videos, where I go into a new generation in Titanfall, is there's two different kinds of KDs in Titanfall, right? There's the top one, which is your KD versus everything, and that counts AI as well as players. Right? That's going to be way higher. It counts as stupid AI. I maybe died to 3 AI in my entire time in Titanfall, and that's because, they were all behind me and I got kicked, or maybe I was already hurt and I turned the corner and I'm trying to melee them and they melee me or something. But the AI is stupid. You're going to have a high KD with the player and AI KD. But the KD below it is your actual KD against other players. Right? And that's your actual one. So I think people will look at these things like, wow, every person I see has like a 7 KD in this game. That's not their real KD. That's their KD against bots too. Yeah, look at the bottom KD. That's the real one. I would say it's more of a skill-based game, Titanfall is. And I like that. I like a game where if you're a good player and you're the better team, you're going to stomp the enemy team. That's how it's going to work. Right? That's how good FPS games, in my opinion, should work. And that's how Titanfall works. And so I wouldn't say it's an easy game to do well in, because I've had plenty of teammates and plenty of people on the other team that just really didn't do well. They don't do so well. So I'd say it's more of a skill-based game than an easy game. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, if you were to join the military, what branch of the military would you be interested in? Air Force? Sniper? Spec Ops? Navy? Something else? Personally, I'm interested in sniping in Air Force. That's also what I do in Battlefield. So yeah. From Levithan. Levithan's the guy that's been on a couple episodes of Chem Strike Saturday. It's always good to get messages from him. If I were to join the military... I've said in previous Dear Nero that I never want to join the military. Not because I hate the idea of military. It's because, possibility of dying. That's probably the worst of it. If I had to join, what would I join? Air Force. Hate flying. Despise it. Flown once. It was awful. I flew from Pennsylvania to Tampa. It was awful because we had to go from, the Pittsburgh airport to the Cincinnati airport, which ironically is actually in Kentucky. And then we went from there to Atlanta, Georgia, then down to Tampa. I hate flying. It is long. It is horrible, and you're also 30-something thousand feet in the air, which I just do not like at all. I'm not a fan at all whatsoever of flying, or heights, for that matter. I hate flying, so I just cross off Air Force. And Sniper. I can shoot, but not that well. So, that's kind of out of the question. Spec Ops. I'm not much of a stealthy person. Not much of a stealth guy at all. I can't even play stealth video games. Like a video game where the whole point of it is to be sneaky. I can't do well in those games. Can't do it. So, let's cross that off too. Navy. I hate the ocean. Hate it. You know why? Because when we went down to Florida, going full circle here with the question, when we flew down to Tampa, Florida, we went on my uncle's boat, right? And he's taking us out there, and we're going down there into the Gulf of Mexico, right? We're 30 miles offshore, something like that. Run out of gas. Run out of gas and a storm comes in. Waves were chopping. He had to call in his friend. We just floated around till he got some signal, right, on his phone. He was able to relay a message to his friend and gave him our coordinates. And his friend comes out on his boat. These aren't giant boats. Like, these are, I don't know how to describe them. They're boats. how would I describe these boats? Picture, this is going to sound shitty, but picture like a yacht, kind of, but a really small one. Like really small, like 15 feet long. Picture something like that. It's got like one little bedroom in the bottom. I don't know what you call these things. But yeah, he has one, and his friend has one. His friend comes out, and he's sitting there throwing us gas in the middle of a storm in the Gulf of Mexico, many, many miles offshore. Right? And then we finally get some gas in, and we just start speeding back to avoid the storm, is speeding back to shore, and we run out of gas again, because he didn't give us enough gas. Right? So he had to give us more gas. And then we finally make it back to shore. And I've never been in the ocean since. That was awful. I was just covered in salt water, and it was cold, it was awful, and I hated it. So we're just gonna scratch off Navy there. Something else. I think the only thing I would be suited for is just to be like a grunt. Like I'm talking like straight World War II on the front lines with my helmet and my rifle, just running down a field. I think that's probably the only thing I would be suited for. I'm not an exceptional shot. I hate flying. I hate anything with the ocean. It would just be bad. It would be bad for me. It would be bad if I joined the military. I am not very well suited for any of that. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, what is your favorite montage that you have made? Personally, I like your Immortal montage. Sincerely, Philip from Tennessee. Well, Immortal. That was a good one. Thank you, Philip. I did like Immortal. That was I think that was my most popular Black Ops 2 montage. That was a pretty good one. Favorite montage. I've done a bunch of them. I've done many montages in my time. I did like a little mini montage series where basically like all the clips for like each montage were recorded in like 2 days, right? And I don't know why I seem to get good like montage style clips pretty frequently when I play Call of Duty, and so I would just like put them together. Like sometimes I save them up, like I'm doing right now, because I have a super secret project you guys aren't allowed to know about yet. But I have some clips saved already, and that's gonna be a really cool little project we're gonna do in the future. But I would save up these clips and I would just put them together for 2 days, right? And I made a little mini-tage series where the titles of all these montages were just like random catchphrases from the 80s. Like one was called Groovy, one was called Gnarly, one was called Totally. Yeah, I like those little series right there. I think my Gnarly COD 4 montage is one of my favorite ones. I like Call of Duty 4. Call of Duty 4 montages to me are just great. I love them. And I think that was my first and only pure COD 4 montage. So I'd say you want to look it up, just search Gnarly COD 4, and by the way, Gnarly is spelled with a G. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I'd say that's one of my favorites, but I think overall the number one favorite, of course, is going to be the Best of Nero, because it's the best clips, in my opinion, my best clips I've ever done. So of course that's probably my favorite. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I was just wondering what TV and what monitor you use for gaming. Thank you, and as always, have a wonderful day. Jacob from Canada. So Jacob, the TV I use, and I do game on a TV, I realize it's kind of more of a trend as of late for people to, even on consoles, for them to play their consoles on a computer monitor because of reduced input lag or something. I don't like that. I tried it. It's like, I don't like it. The monitor's too small. Yeah, I'm used to a TV. So it is a Vizio TV. I don't know the specifics of it. It's a 1080p Vizio Smart TV, and it's between 32 and 37 inches. I don't remember the exact size. I'm just guesstimating by looking at it. It's somewhere in there. And I have two monitors. I have like a dual monitor setup, and they're not even matching monitors. But the monitor I game on is an AOC 27-inch... Yeah, what's the fancy phrase? Borderless? I guess it's a AOC 27-inch borderless monitor. I'm sure if you Google that, you'll find it. There's people that pay for like the special MLG certified, monitors, and I don't know. I don't think, reducing that input like that, like, oh no, it's only got 5 milliseconds of response time. It's, it's fantastic. It's so good, or whatever it is they got going on. I don't know. I just never thought that that's worth investing in, especially because video games have lag. You can have all the response time you want, but you're talking about milliseconds here. So I'm just like, whatever. I think it'll be okay. And yeah, I like gaming on a TV. And of course, when I play computer games and stuff, of course it's on my computer monitor. So that is my stuff that I use to do things and stuff. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what are your thoughts on Dead Island Riptide? By the way, keep up the fantastic work on the videos. Sincerely, Cool from Iowa. So Dead Island Riptide, Mr. Cool, let me tell you a bit about Dead Island Riptide. That series. That series. So, I played Dead Island, the original one, right? And I liked it a lot for the most part. I was able to overlook all the horrible badness that was that game solely for the fact that it was a semi-open world zombie game, right? And that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted. You know, it's a semi-open world zombie game. I love anything with zombies. If it's got zombies in it, sign me up. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to watch, whatever. I love it, right? I did it. I played it. It was, Dead Island wasn't all around. It was a pretty okay game, right? But there were a lot of problems with it. And then when Dead Island Riptide comes out, I'm like, all right, let's get this thing. I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't this game just come out? Why is it only $30 already? And I'm like, all right, well, let me try it anyway. Big mistake. There's a reason the price dropped ridiculously on Dead Island Riptide. It was a bad game. It was like quite literally the exact same thing as Dead Island, like the original Dead Island. Like it was like of course different story, of course different locations and stuff, right? But for the most part, I mean, all the bugs and stuff that were in Dead Island, like the original one, are still there in Riptide. It was just bad. It was bad. And I don't think I'm ever going to play another Dead Island game because Dead Island Riptide was horrible. I started doing a Let's Play of it, right? It was going to be a blind Let's Play. Like most of my Let's Plays were blind on Nero's Let's Plays. And I'm like, all right, a new Dead Island game. Yeah, the first one was actually pretty good, I guess. Let's play the second one. And I made it 5 episodes into that Let's Play before I quit. I'm like, nope, don't even want to play no more. Game sucks. Don't like this. I just didn't like the game. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what do you think if you could have your favorite team's logo as a camo in Call of Duty Ghost? Keep up the great work, Jenkins from Virginia. So Mr. Jenkins, I like this question. I like your idea. You got your thinking cap on. That's a good thing. Good stuff there, Mr. Jenkins. But the problem with it is, for Activision to go ahead and make it so like your favorite baseball team or your favorite football team or basketball or whatever, to be able to have those logos in their game, there's going to be some royalties paid, right? It would cost them money to be able to use that copyrighted stuff. That's how it would work. The only way for that to ever actually work is if Major League Baseball signed an agreement, right, with Activision saying, yes, you can use our logos, use our brands in your game. It's kind of like a free promotion kind of thing, right? You know, you just put our stuff in there. Make people, put their favorite teams on their guns, have fun times with that. It would be a cool idea. It'd be fantastic. But I don't see the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, or anything like that actually going ahead and doing that without asking Activision to be compensated for the use of their brand. So that probably couldn't work. But that brings up the point. Why has there not been customizable camos in Call of Duty? Why has this not happened yet? Right? Why has this not happened? There's been some good camos. I'm gonna go with some simple camos here, right? So digital, it was in Call of Duty 4. It was in Modern Warfare 2. It's kind of a basic camo that just worked. I think it was Modern Warfare 3 as well, right? It was just your basic gray and black and a little bit of white digital camouflage. Why is there no customization there? Why could we not make it red digital or blue digital or green digital or purple digital? I realize there's like a pink digital in Call of Duty Ghost, but other than that, like why can't we customize camos yet? That'd be a neat thing. Why can't we do that? I'm telling you, one of these game developers needs to hire me. I would put butts in seats and I would put discs in trays. Right? I would sell some copies if I had like creative control of a video game. Oh man, it'd be good stuff. I mean, you just look at Sledgehammer. They're already using my weather idea. So, that's a thing. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I recently looked you up on Twitch. I saw that you had an account. My question is, do you stream from Twitch? And if you do, when? Sam from New York. So Sam, I've streamed maybe 3 times total on Twitch. Live streaming's alright. I mean, it's kind of fun, but it's just, I don't know, I seem to like just making videos more than live streaming. There's some people that are, like half and half video maker or Twitch streamer. Then there's other people that are like mainly YouTube, then kind of a little bit on the side that do Twitch. Then there's other people that do just only Twitch mainly, and then maybe upload some highlights to their YouTube channel. I would say I'm more the YouTube guy. I'm not very great at live streaming. Like I enjoy live streaming, it's fun, but I'm not very good at the tech kind of stuff with it. And I don't know, it just kind of something I've never been super interested in, but it's one of the things that I think I'm probably gonna be interested in. I think sometime down the line, I'm probably gonna get into Twitch. I'm gonna get into live streaming, and when that happens, twitch.tv/NerosCinema. I think it's all set up there. I even did some fancy channel art and stuff on there, but it's been like 3 months since I live streamed there. Will I do it in the future? Yes. When? Don't know. Next and final question he's gonna write. Dear Nero, about how many Dear Neros do you receive each week? Also, how do you choose the questions on the Dear Neros? Thank you in advance and have a great day. This person did not leave his or her name. So, Dear Nero, I would say it's actually, the numbers are shockingly low for this particular episode of Dear Nero. It's actually very low, the amount of people that actually sent in questions. I'd say overall, I probably got 20 questions this week. Usually, Dear Nero is 50 questions plus, maybe 40 to 50 questions. I'm trying to think of the most questions I've ever had for Dear Nero. I think 1 week is well over 100 questions were sent in. But yeah, not a whole lot were actually sent in this week. How do I go about answering the questions is every single message in my inbox that's titled Dear Nero, I open it and I read it, right? And if it's a question that I think is an entertaining question, like a question that I've, would like to answer, that'd be fun to answer, or maybe something I haven't done before, that's a big thing. Is if it's a question I haven't answered before, that's giant. Like just a few of the questions this week that I just basically skipped over. One of them was, what equipment do I need to start a YouTube channel? I've answered that like a million times. One of them was, what is my favorite gun in Call of Duty Ghost? I've answered that like a million times. I realize that not everyone catches every episode of Dear Nero. I understand that. That's why I do repeat questions occasionally. Like the favorite gun in Call of Duty Ghost, I think I've answered like 4 times in 4 different Dear Neros, right? It's the Honey Badger. And I've answered that question so many times, and people still send that question, so I just kind of like skip over that. So the biggest thing if you're sending a question in for Dear Nero and you want it to be answered is try to make it as original of a question as you can think of. And if you're like a frequent viewer of Dear Nero, then you know what questions to ask, or you know what questions haven't been answered before. I mean, if I answered a question 6 months ago, I'll gladly answer it again, because it's been so long that freaking probably all the people that watched me back then probably don't watch me now. And all the people that do watch me now are like new subscribers that just came in within the last 6 months, right? I'm okay with re-answering questions from a while ago, but if the question that you're answering me was like literally on the last week's episode, I'm not going to answer it. I'm just going to skip over that question. That's kind of how it goes. But yeah, that's basically how Dear Nero works. Basically, you guys ask questions. If I haven't answered it before, or if it's an entertaining question, I answer it. I ho diggity. Or maybe I have a story behind my answer or something, then yeah, that's how I do my questions. And that would be the conclusion of this week's episode of Dear Nero. Not too many questions. I'm telling you, this one, we didn't get too many sent in this week. Not so much at all. So I want you guys to go and flood my inbox this week. So next week's episode of Dear Nero can just have tons of questions. It'll be a nice, super duper awesome, nice one. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of Dear Nero. If you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. And once again, if you guys like to send in your guys' questions for next week's episode of Dear Nero, all you gotta do is send me a personal message here on YouTube. Make the title of the message Dear Nero, and write your question in the body of it. If you're wondering how to send a question on YouTube or how to send a personal message, it's pretty simple. You go to my YouTube channel, go to the About Me section. There's like this little arrow thing that you can click, and it'll give you the option to send me a message from there. That's how you do it. So hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.